Welcome to the Freedom Property Podcast, the modern real estate brand empowering excellence. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. It's the Freedom Property Podcast show. Today, in the house, we have got my business partner, one of my coaches. He is the CEO of the property platform, Mr. Randall Curry.
Hey guys.
Welcome.
Thanks, mate.
There's been a bit of commotion about you coming onto the podcast.
Is there?
Yeah.
Why
Everyone's like, when's Randall coming on? Everybody wants to hear from you, mate.
Oh, well, that's good.
The guru.
Hopefully we can get some good info out there.
Absolutely. Yeah, like we were just saying before, if we, because we're always catching up, having conversations like this could go for hours.
Yeah.
So we'll try and we'll probably get you back on and we'll explain this evolution of property that, we think we're coming into right now. But there's a lot of exciting things happening in our lives right now.
It's crazy.
Absolutely. How are you feeling about everything right now?
Really good, actually. It's, there's a lot happening, what we're sort of, as people will find out shortly, I think, but with what we're about to launch. But it's exciting times in the industry in general. I think there's just been so many changes as far as new brands coming through. Yeah, bit of a move for people to shift away, I guess, from brands at one stage to being independent, and then when the market tightens up, I expect that to probably go the other way a little bit. Yeah. But yeah, I think we're in the middle of, I guess, what I maybe predicted 10 years ago. And I think from here, the story's just going to go more and more that way, to be honest. Seriously? Because I think what we're doing is working. Yeah. And people are seeing that. Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, that was a big start. It was a good start.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. The thing I like about you, Randall, is you are a big forward thinker. Like you've got your plan, where we're going, and obviously things happen in the meantime. We sort of like veer off a little bit. Yeah. But, it's good to see that this all unfolding at the moment and things happening around us that we knew were going to happen eventually, but, things are moving in the right direction. But like you said then, you've been in real estate for how long?
I've been about 30 years.
30 years.
Yeah. So I kind of started it, with Ray White down in Capalaba. Yeah. One of their oldest stores in Queensland. I think their oldest store in Queensland possibly, or residential sales store. Yeah. And, Ray White's a fantastic brand. They taught me a lot of good things early up. Mm-hmm. And, they were focused on sales. Yeah. And when I walked into an office for the first time, I wasn't required to be a marketer. Mm. It was literally you'd put an ad in the local paper, put it on the window, job done, you know what I mean? And I wasn't even doing any of that stuff. So, when I walked into the first office, it was, here's your listing sheet. These are all the properties that are on the market. Mm. Don't ever effing let me find out that you don't know one of those properties.
Absolutely.
All right. So it was all about stock knowledge. And this is how you do an auction. Yeah. And to be honest, it couldn't have been better training for me because there's two totally different sides to this business in my mind. One side of it is sales, right? And that's what we get into this business for. And I see a lot of good salespeople get into this business that have no idea how to actually run a business. Yeah. And they burn out after about 3 years generally.
Yeah, absolutely.
And some really good salespeople stick in this business, but then they make the mistake of going out and trying to start their own business. Yep. And then they have to try and duplicate what they know in sales and try and teach someone else. Yep. But the problem is a sales is a skill.
Absolutely.
Right? And so this is what I mean by the difference. Sales is a skill. So the skill is dealing with customers, getting that contract across the line, getting them to sign a listing with you, knowing how to close a customer and not walk out of the door, you know what I mean? All of that is sales skills. And someone that's really good at sales skills is generally pretty shit at organising their business.
Absolutely.
And so I guess that was where I was a little bit different to the average agent. I was reasonably good at sales, right? But for me, there was a lot of better salespeople in my area, right? But for me, it was right from day one, it was about systems.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
I remember actually when I first got into sales, I was like, it was all this, we had this listing sheet and it was just literally all of the properties that were on the market and how many bedrooms they had and all that. And I thought, well, this is not good enough. Like, how do I know that potential person that was going to sell, but just told me yesterday that they're not going to sell for 6 months? Where's that? Do you know what I mean? Like, where's my file card for that? Because we literally had these little file cards and you'd write a buyer's details on there. But it wasn't very good at managing potential sellers. Seriously. So I built this little thing called Tracker. It was actually a software program called Tracker, so I didn't build that. But I modified it so I could say, okay, well, Josh wants to sell in 6 months' time. So you had an expected listing date.
Yeah.
Okay. And based on that expected listing date, I could put you in a call list order and keep in touch with you the way that I should keep in touch with you. So that was, I guess, my first enter into it. And I remember at the time I went and spoke because I was so excited about this software program. Nobody was using software. And I went up to Ray White head office and I said to Peter Camphon, I think his name was at the time, I think he's still with Ray White. And I said to Peter, mate, we need to build a system. You know, we need to build a database for this reason and that reason. And he's like, Randall, Ray White is a sales business. It's got a rich sales history and we're a sales company. We're not going to be a technology company. Even back then I thought, whoa, you're going to regret that in 10 years' time. But I was, again, probably a little bit too ahead of the game, to be honest, because that was, you know, probably 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And, I mean, technology is everything now.
Yeah.
But it's probably only been that way in real estate for the last 10 years, I guess.
To create what we've created, obviously, now, and in between there, you have had to have been a very good salesperson, though. You know, like you would have had to understand the psychology of the sales side of things, you know. So was that something that naturally came to you, like understanding, you know, where these buyers were at or where the seller was at on their journey? Did you pick that up early or?
My business is, I'm a relationship builder.
Yep.
That's what's created this whole thing for me, to be honest. I love people and I love building relationships with people.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? As you know, you started it as a cadet in my office.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, for me, that's what life's about, is people. And so I was good at meeting someone at my open home and then not treating them just as a buyer that was coming through to either buy it or not buy it and then see you later.
Yeah.
I recognised very early that was the commencement of a relationship.
Absolutely.
So I would spend time with the relationship. I would take pride in the fact that it was my job to keep in contact with everybody that took the time to meet and actually want to know me.
Yeah.
So, you know, the databasing of that was all part of that. But yeah, you know, I was a good lister. You know, I was listing 10, 12 properties a month, every month, because I had that backup. I had a pipeline of business that was always coming through. And that's, as you know, Charles Tarby, another really smart guy that I learned a lot from in the Century 21 days. He wrote a book called Listing Rich, and that's what really got me on that track, to be honest, because it was all about who owns the listing controls the market.
Absolutely.
So, you know, everything that I've subsequently, I guess, built and driven my business in the direction of has all been based around those principles.
Yep.
So I guess number one, you know that it's about customers. Number two, have a way of keeping in touch with those people so that you can run a good business. So then you can build respect with them because you're actually doing what you're supposed to do. And then three, I guess, know how to turn that from a relationship into a result when they need it.
Absolutely.
You know, and for me, that was always, you know, if you want cheap, I'm probably not the right person for you. But if you want the best possible price, then this is what we need to do, A, B, C, D. And
you would, obviously back in the day, you would create that relationship via phone calls?
Yeah, it was all about phone calls. And that's why for me today, it's still all about phone calls.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't have a relationship with an insurance broker right now.
Yeah.
Right. I get plenty of emails from insurance brokers.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
But I don't have a relationship with one. So if any of those people took the time to actually say, oh, you know what, Randall, you don't need to do this. I'll look after all your insurance for you.
Yeah.
Right. I would literally go, great.
Yeah.
There you go.
Absolutely.
You know.
Yeah. I hear that. The way the world is moving now as well, though, is that we can create that relationship sometimes without having the conversation. And how I mean that is like we can build trust through like social media. We can build trust via an email, like if it was actually relevant and giving me information that I really wanted,
Mm-hmm.
and agents, like, again, you have to make the phone calls, but if you can add those things in as well and have that behind the scenes, like I'm talking to you customers, I'm talking to you my clients, but maybe I'm not necessarily talking to you direct.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of the world moving that way, eh?
100%. And people are driven to success, and that's what they see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's quite clear in this area that people go to you because of your success, because that success is constantly in front of them. But if you actually meet someone and you have that initial relationship, right, then you can pass it on to the systems.
Yes.
But you've got to take every chance you possibly can to build that relationship.
Absolutely.
Because that's what will make them choose you over someone else, rather than you'll get the call in.
Yep.
But have you got a relationship when you go in?
That's it.
And that's the difference. It's if I'm sitting in a listing presentation and I've spoken to you 8 times over the last year, right, or even twice, right, over the last year, because it's a bit unrealistic as your business grows. You do have to leverage more when you're in your situation. You can't build a $3 million business or run a $3 million business making every phone call yourself, right?
Yeah.
But if you can have that bit of a contact and a relationship, and then the marketing that you're sending out is more personalized, like text messaging and stuff like that, then you can certainly maintain relationships like that.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny because sometimes like the younger people in here, they're like, "Can I come to the listing press with you?" And I'm like, "Oh, this isn't going to be like a proper listing press." Like I'm just going to be going over to someone's house
forever.
I've sold like 3 houses from before. Like it's not going to be a proper listing press, bro. I'm like, and there's so much more of that happening now.
Yeah.
And like you say, it's the relationship, and people do forget that, especially the way the world's moving. Like everyone's sort of like disconnected, like it's all like social media, and everyone's trapped in this like, look at me, sort of, fake reality or whatever it is. But
that'll be temporary.
Yeah, definitely.
I think we'll swing. It's like anything. It's like fashion. You know what I mean? Yeah. People swing around in the opposite direction, and next minute this will be all about. No one will want to talk to you unless you're willing to ring them, and it'll eventually go back to that direction.
Yeah, you'll have your toga on soon, eh?
I won't be making those phone calls.
Definitely. So you were at Ray White and sort of figuring out the craft, figuring out, that you needed a system and a software, and you didn't quite have that at the time, trying to figure it out. Then when was the move to start your own office?
So I was with Rod and Julie Crawley back then. They had 3 offices in the Redlands. They had Capalaba and Cleveland and Alex Hills.
Yeah.
They ended up buying another one at Wellington Point. But basically, this is all Ray White.
Yeah.
And so after 3 years of I was number 1 salesperson for the Ray White group in the Redlands.
Nice.
And then because of that, and because of the software and, how keen I was, he put me in charge of Ray White Alex Hills, and we made that. It went quite well.
Yep.
And then his wife decided to come back into that business.
Yep.
And I thought, well, I've kind of just been pushed out to a certain degree, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I decided to move to Cleveland and go into just focus on sales. And then I thought, well, you know what? I can do this on my own. So I started a Century 21 office, and struggled, to be honest, right in the first part of that, because it's very hard juggling being an office owner and running a business and being a salesperson as well.
Seriously.
Because they're 2 different things altogether. One, you're selling houses, and the other, you're recruiting. And exactly the same businesses, really, because you've still got to build relationships.
Yeah.
and if you'll want to, you want someone that you can build trust with, that is thinking about joining your group or something like that. It's going to take phone calls. It's going to take follow up. It's going to take work.
Yeah.
Just like it is getting a listing.
Yeah.
So went from guess that to struggling initially with the office, but again putting systems in place. And Charles Tarby, who owns Century 21 still. He came up with a system back then called eSales, which was kind of ahead of its time, and we maximised that as much as we could.
Yeah.
And that sort of helped my business grow. And then we took that Century 21 to the number one office in the country.
Definitely. And
that was for about 4 years, I think, before I decided to start my own brand.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember when I first started at Century 21, we were at the office in the middle of Cleveland there.
Yep.
And that was where I started.
Yep.
And I came and sat in your office with you guys, and I met you both, and I was just like, yeah, this is a slick operation, because where I was at the time, it was very much just, like, let's just open an office and see how we go type of thing. Whereas that was like, all right, there was some good operators in there. It was all happening. And when I came and sat in there, I knew that, all right, well, like this is the place, it's definitely, because it was back then, it was it was such a good office, such a good vibe. A lot of good agents in there.
There was, and I had had a partner at the time, Gary Byland, and he actually taught me a lot about staying on the recruitment drive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that was definitely a good period, I guess, in the business as well. And I think then wanting to have my own brand was around. I guess in my mind I'd sort of thought through the software that we were using and thought, I could do this even better. And just, I guess, I also knew that, I'd moved personally from Ray White to Century 21, and it really didn't make any difference to my business.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't do that for any particular reason to do with Ray White. They're a fantastic brand and have a really good culture. But for me, it was all, those people, those 550 potential sellers I had in my database. If I spoke to them and said, "Oh, well, wasn't at Ray White anymore, I'm at Century 21," they wouldn't have given a shit.
That's it. And a lot of these offices, they are very much for much. A lot of them, they do use the same CRM. They do use the same media team.
Yep.
They do use the same marketers. Like you're just changing your shirt pretty much.
That's right. So, 12 years ago, we started Freedom Property. And the reason that, I guess the main reason that I started Freedom was I recognised, we had 25 people in the office. Can't remember what numbers. I think we were doing about 8 million a year in sales.
Yeah.
Between 25 agents. And it was a good business, but I was very reliant month by month on how much those agents wanted to work. Right. And they would come and go, obviously. Some would retire. And so it was just a lot of your cash flow when you're in an office like that is tied up in that side of it.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to sort of plan where you're going with it to a certain degree.
And you're very much attached to that office as well. Like you're very needed. Like I'm very needed at the moment in this office, like it's, it is. It's and you want to look after your people as well, don't you? Like obviously we've got the brand now, but we've still got this office, and these people, like, they mean a lot to me. So
that's right.
And I throw my whole heart into it. So it's like, will you come to a listing presentation for me at 7 p.m. on Thursday night?
Yep.
Probably.
Yeah. And that is the difficult part sometimes. It's like, you build relationships with the people around you in the office, and, you hear more than you're at home.
Yeah.
So, they are your family at the end of the day. And, then whether it's because of money or something, they're just, sometimes people leave, you know what I mean? And it is part of it,
Yeah.
And that's why I say it's a recruitment business as well. You've just constantly got to be recruiting.
Definitely. But you've also got to have, a system, a culture that makes people want to stay as well,
100%.
rather than a revolving door. Because I haven't really had a revolving door here. We've had a few people leave, and that is like, like that really hurts me. I'm like, oh my God, like, are you sure? Like I actually care, I'm absolutely gutted right now, so like I haven't had much of that leave, so it's trying to create a space and a system and just giving the agents what they want and need. And I think that when you started Freedom, you understood that the agents were starting to become maybe more powerful and they probably deserve more commission. That's why they sort of left.
Yep.
So you got that part right, didn't you? And then obviously then adding the rest of the ingredients.
Well, I mean, like I said right at the start, when I first got into real estate, it was about sales.
Yeah.
It wasn't about marketing. It wasn't about all the things that you have to do as an agent now. So, I looked at that back then and thought, there's 25 people in this office, but if I wanted to scale this business, and that's really what it was about. I've got a franchise group now.
Yeah.
How do I scale this business?
Yep.
Right. So that's when it was all for me about providing everything online. And if I was going to do that, I wanted to make sure I chose the right software to build as a platform. And this is probably the best decision that I've actually made in my career, is I researched the best CRMs in the world, customer relationship management, and ended up going with salesforce.com. Now, 10 years ago, they were pretty much unheard of, right? And now they're the leading CRM in the world by a long shot.
Yeah.
And so, over the last 12 years, I guess, I've just been constantly learning what agents will do and what they won't do. But being in the industry for so long, I kind of knew how they would like to operate and what they needed to do to operate anyway.
Yeah.
So I believe, we've went about building a system so that people could operate from home. And this was the Freedom thing initially.
Yep.
They could actually operate their business from home. So I basically kicked everyone out of the office.
Yeah, I remember.
It caused a lot of turmoil, but because I had so much loyalty from everybody, they kind of hung there with me.
Definitely.
And then eventually you went and started an office and some other people stayed at home and whatever. But the whole idea with that was, if I empowered agents to start their own business but not have to worry about all the business stuff, then that could be a really good winning formula. And it's worked out that is the case.
Yeah.
So, they don't have to do any administration. They don't have to do any marketing. They don't have to do a little bit of financial management, but nowhere near what you'd normally do in an office.
Yeah.
And so that allowed me to actually pay them bigger commission amounts.
Yeah.
And so it all kind of went from there. And this is where, it was working really well for the Freedom brand. So I thought, well, why not make my life even harder and design this software for independent offices or larger other brands that wanted to use the software. And then, as my mind does, I'm like, well, maybe we could even take our industry back one day, But, that's like a long way down the road.
That's another big conversation.
It's a long way down the road. We won't go there. So, I guess the thing for me now is we've got a software platform there now built on salesforce.com, which is ultimately flexible, which is what it needs to be. It's got a set path for what you need to do to be successful.
Yes.
And if you follow that set path, then you are definitely going to be successful.
Oh, like we've got, people brand new into this industry following this pathway that is, is the property platform, and handling buyers in a certain way and handling listing opportunities in a certain way. And then, I think people forget as well about all the little things behind the scenes. It's like what these buyers are receiving and, after an open home, the logins, like the surveys we send out, there's just all these little extra things, the content packs, that, people sometimes forget all this behind the scenes stuff, but our agents, they come and they put this into play and we see very, very quickly how they make it work, because a lot of like you say, a lot of these old school brands, they're running on these systems that don't have that same sort of mind that Salesforce has got.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of brands don't even have their own software. I was quite amazed when I actually started talking to some of these brands that their software is either really outdated now, or they just don't have their own software at all. And the ones that are building their own software, I believe, are making a huge mistake in that they're not leveraging a platform like Salesforce.
Yeah.
I think we live in an age now where you can't keep up trying to do everything yourself. I don't care how big your development team is.
Yep.
I can't build a CRM myself and try and compete with Salesforce.com that have 75,000 employees, and 50,000 of those people are probably developers. It's 250 grand a year for one of those people.
Seriously.
So there's no way that I'm going to even try and compete with that. What my job that I recognise was to how do we adapt it for the industry so that people can go, right, step one is this, step two is that. I mean, we could have a whole conversation around
absolutely.
And
that's what we will be doing.
Yeah, and that's cool. But yeah, we'll do that in the next episode or something, I think.
Yeah, well, we need to do that in our series, don't we? Because, like what you've done with the property platform has created Freedom, the modern brand,
That's right.
And that's what we are going to do, aren't we? We're going to show off the difference, what a modern brand does, in each part of the procedure.
That's right. And I think, that whole Freedom journey has been a long journey, and it's had things that we've learned on the way through.
Big time.
And that's what's led to us now, as just recently redoing the whole model based around what we see is needed in the marketplace.
Absolutely.
And essentially the mistake I made was kicking everyone out of the office, because I kicked them out of the office because customers don't need offices anymore.
Yeah.
That was true.
Yeah.
Okay. But agents need offices.
Absolutely.
And agents need culture.
Yeah.
And we all want to get up and we want to leave the house and we want to go into an office and be with our mates and our people that we love being around.
And like you said at the start there as well, like how the independents they have over the last couple of years when the market's been so good, they're like, well, I'll just go do my own thing and start Randall Realty or whatever.
Yeah.
And now, it's starting to get tighter, and they're all coming back to these environments where you need the help of your mate to be like, come on, let's do this. I've got this listing I'm struggling to sell. Help me with your buyers. Let's team up. Like you need that. You need that. Because it's difficult.
It's lonely. You know what I mean? Like you can be an independent, and that's fine. But it's a lonely path, and you haven't got that mentor or someone that you can just bounce stuff against necessarily.
Yeah, definitely.
Helping you move that whole thing forward. That's not to say that some people aren't going to make a huge success, but essentially those independents, the good ones end up becoming their own brands anyway.
Yeah.
So, what we learned was, yes, you need to have an office, but do you need to have heaps of little offices everywhere? I don't think so. I think it's more about having everyone in the same space and just having that one regional hub.
Yeah.
And it also allows for someone that does want to dedicate their career to being a regional manager, as we call it, to actually make an exceptional living out of it.
Definitely.
Because we don't want really people in that, as you know, it's difficult to be an exceptional salesperson and be writing the numbers that you're writing and also have time to do the recruitment. I mean, you've pulled it off, right? But let's try and find another one of you in the next region. You know what I mean? Like it's not.
I've been fortunate as well to have all these amazing people around me, because what I've been good at over the years is like, nah, I'm not doing it. You're doing it. You're doing it. Bringing people in and and leveraging myself up with these amazing people around me to do all this stuff. But like that is a full-time job in itself, being a regional manager and being a coach for all of these agents.
That's right.
Like if I was to stop selling tomorrow and I just focus myself on being a regional manager and just coaching these people in this office and making sure that if they're struggling on a listing pres, I'll come to it with you and making sure that of every negotiation they're ringing me on and, like really fine tuning this, and which is what I do for a lot of the associates in here. But when they become partners, that's when we know they've got it covered, so they don't need that me as much.
And you need that, like when someone becomes successful, it's just natural that they want to go to the next level and have the next lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
And, it's an abundant world that we live in, and I think we need to provide that opportunity for them and give them a clear path to success,
Definitely.
And even to the point, if they do want to go and start their own brand or do something like that, we've now got a platform for them to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And so, from learning from the initial part where it's how do we empower an agent to be successful without worrying about all the stuff, right? So that they can just do sales and focus on customers. Then what we're obviously doing now is taking that to the next level and saying, okay, well, how do we make a regional manager successful? Like you don't have administration staff in this office.
Seriously.
Right? So how do we make you successful by taking it all to the brand level?
Yeah. And then how do you take away all the problems from the brand and
exactly
leave it at the platform
and take
level.
it to the platform level?
So this is those stages that we're trying to master right now. This is why what I like about what we've done is like we haven't rushed it, and that's, as annoying and frustrating as it is for me being your business partner, I'm just like, hurry up. I'm like, come on, let's go. But, you're very thought out, very planned, and you like to document everything and make sure everything is, is in the system. And I'm getting better at that, but I'm more of a like, let's go, let's figure this out. Let's systems run the business and people run the systems. That's it.
And I think, like you say, the thing that has allowed you to balance it, I guess, is having a systems person in the background supporting you and, having you buy into the freedom side of it or buy freedom essentially and start running that side of it's been a massive relief for me too, because I was running a brand for 5 of the years after turning it into freedom. As you know, at Century 21, I was still a salesperson. So I was, doing quite a lot of sales there. So moving from that and then slowly moving into actually building a software rather than, and this is probably why Freedom didn't grow at the level that it could have, because I've been focused on software. So, this is why I'm really excited to see what's happening with it now. But having, there's no, one thing I learned from Salesforce.com themselves is just from observing what they do is they're building systems for themselves, right? And then putting them out there as products. So if you think about any really successful corporate business, right? They don't get the marketing team to do sales. Right? They don't get the administration team to do marketing. Right. So because they're big, they have the ability to go, okay, an expert will do that and they'll do it in that region. Okay. And that runs all the way through the company. So and that's called efficiency.
Definitely.
And then that allows the salesperson to stay in their lane and do exactly what they're meant to do. That's how you create efficiency.
Absolutely.
But if you're out there and you're about to go and start an independent office and you have one of the industry CRMs that, look, they've got bells and whistles, but not maybe a lot of process to them, right? Then you're in struggle street right from the beginning, because you've got when you open that office, you're the admin, you're the marketing, you're the finance, you're the principal, you're the recruiter, and you're the salesperson. Like that's hell. All right. So, if we can make our industry a hell of a lot more professional by thinking of it from the corporate level. And then saying, okay, well, there's a place for a brand, which is a culture. And then there's a place in there for execution on a regional or suburb level. And that's an office. And then there's a place in there for a sales team, which is, again, its own business in itself. And with other components to it, like buyer managers and these side of things, and empower all of those businesses at each level. We're going to have a hell of a lot better industry. And that's really what, I guess my goal is now. Didn't start as that, but that's my goal now is how do we bring this industry together and basically take it back for the industry, because we can do that. Any decision, there's an old saying, begin with the end in mind. Okay. So we might not be in this position to take our industry back in the next year, 5 years. But we might be there in 20 years, right? So do you think it's going to be better for us if we start that journey now? You know what I mean? Again, that's a bigger subject that we'll talk about at another time. But I think if I want to give advice to the people watching this, you're not just a salesperson, you're running a business. Doesn't matter what level you're at. You could be part of someone else's business and part of someone else's team, but you need to start looking at that as a business. And if you're in a sales team and it's you and you're the only salesperson, it's your business, and you need to think, okay, if I can't qualify the amount of leads that are coming into my business, then I'm really just treating it like a salesperson, and I'm going to have to do this for the rest of my life.
Definitely.
Right? If I start thinking about this as a business, and then when I've got too many leads, know what those leads convert to in money in my pocket, and that will give me the confidence to bring someone else into my team, and then have a system so that I can monitor and reward them for success and know when they're being successful or when they're not doing anything, so that I can react quickly and not be paying someone wages that's sitting there doing nothing, and have a set path for everything that I need to do. That's a business plan.
Absolutely.
And that's how you become successful and move your business to the next level. And whether that's moving it to becoming then an office owner and then having your own brand, again.
It's exactly what I do. It's exactly what I do in the listing press. It's exactly what I do. I sit there and I don't start pretending I'm a digital marketer. I don't start pretending I'm a social media manager. Certainly, I'm not going to write your ad. I'm not a control freak. I've got people that are going to help me put the listings up. I've got people that are going to help me do the contract side of things. I'm going to stay exactly where you want me to be, which is talking to your buyer and talking to you, and this is the team that allows me to do that. And I am now a professional. I am a business person. I am someone that they know has got things covered and is set up well. And that's now they trust me better because I'm not Joe Bloggs doing everything,
Exactly.
So, and there's a lot of agents, that don't understand that. They just think that, no, I'm good at writing the ads. But no. Like
it's not even about being good at writing the ad. It's just like, why the hell? This is the thing in a nutshell. Okay, every lead that comes into your business, and we've got the spreadsheets for this. We've analysed your business. We know that every qualified lead, every person that you actually qualify and follow through to see if you have opportunities with them, is worth $640 to you.
Yeah.
So why the hell, when I can get an ad written for me for $65 or $75, I don't even know what it costs, but who cares, right? Why the hell would I do something that I'm not trained to do, but take away my focus from what I do well?
Yeah.
Right? And in that same half an hour that I'm wasting doing that, I could have made 5 more phone calls and added an extra $3,000 to my bottom line within the next 12 months.
Absolutely.
It just makes no sense to me.
And staying in your lane, and then, the agents that do, like you say, start their own thing, and now they don't have this to plug into. They can't just go and get a copywriter, or if they do, they've got to manage this whole process of paying them and doing all this jazz. It's just like just too much stuff going on, and it becomes like very stressful, having all this stuff happening and all these people to manage. It's like you don't want that as an agent or a regional manager who's trying to manage all these agents. They're the last two things that you want, and that's what we've done well at Freedom. We've popped all these people up here at a Freedom level, and we've said, plug in and use us when you need. And then the platform sits on top of that, and Freedom plugs into that and uses that when it needs, and that to me is perfect. It's just like,
and I think it's the thing that Salesforce provides. Like if you're gonna be doing stuff for somebody, you need to be talking to them about that particular job that you're doing for them at that particular time. And the thing that I love about Salesforce is it allows the brand to communicate with their entire, with all of their partners on a record perspective. So if I'm doing a job for you, bang, this just got ticked off.
Definitely.
We've ticked it off, and now you get a notification to say it's done. Definitely. So you're not worried about, is my business being managed properly? And I think that's the difference. That's the whole piece. You know what I mean? It's like, well, you've got to have that communication on the way through.
Like we've got, obviously, inside the system here, we've got a contracts coordinator, Bridget. So, and I've got 4 people in my team. So, and they've all got their own login. So me, Jake, Maddie, and Joel. They've all got their own login. So now a building and pest is approved, or there's some issue on whatever. Bridget, that's going to come to Bridget now, who sits at the top, and she's going to alert our team like on the record feed. that there's something going on. Now, if I'm the lead agent and I am out doing listing presentations or out doing this, I have set someone up in my team who's ready to manage that part. It's not me having to text them, call them, email them. It's just so clear and it's all there. And then they can respond to the whole team on that, just fixed it all up. Yep. I'm now the lead agent away chasing down business, doing exactly what I'm supposed to do. And I know that everything's taken care of.
That's right.
And it's not on someone's phone or email that we didn't even know about.
Yeah.
It's right there. Yeah. On the record feed.
It's exciting times. It really is.
We haven't even touched the surface here.
No.
But yeah, I think, we need to get you in front of more agents. And I think that obviously you've been hidden away for the last couple of years and working this system and just making sure it all works behind the scenes and dealing with a lot of this development team. But I really feel like, the people need to understand what you're thinking in real estate right now.
And, that's we'll do a podcast series from the platform level, I think. And, get your, Freedom's a perfect example of how to use the platform. Yeah. And we're putting into policy, I guess, so that it is used the way that it's meant to be used. Definitely. Because we know what's successful and we know what's not. Yeah. And, if people get to see what it's all about, then I think it's a bit of a no-brainer for them, really. But it's a matter of getting all of that documented and online and getting it out there. Yeah. So watch this space.
Absolutely. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Randall Curry. Look him up, and you'll be impressed.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.